Mom?
I wasn't expecting this today.
She's dead.
Oh dear.
Got nowhere to go.
Welcome to the wild country.
Our movie kicks off with a girl named Red heading home only to be hit with blaring smoke alarms and a house full of smoke. She is desperately calling out for her mom and trying to shake her awake, but her mom was not just asleep. She was completely out of it, totally unaware of the chaos because of the substances she had taken. When Red finally drags her outside for some fresh air, her mom starts mumbling about dreaming of a wolf that bit off her arm. Red says, "A wolf? What wolf? Mom, I thought you lost your arm in an accident." Her mom just goes quiet and passes out on her shoulder. It is pretty clear their relationship was not in a good place. Red was worn out from dealing with her mom's problems. It got so bad she could not even sleep at home, which is why she was always falling asleep in class. But then the worst happens. Red comes home one day to find her mom dead on the floor. She is completely frozen with no idea what to do, but she manages to call the police. They come to take the body away and start asking if she has any relatives to stay with. At first, she says she has nobody, but the moment she realizes she is heading straight for the foster system, she blurts out that her grandmother is still alive, even though she has never met her. The officer suggests she give her a call and go live with her. Anything beats living with total strangers. So with no other choice, she dials her grandmother and breaks the news that her mom is gone. The grandmother is completely shocked by the call. She comforts her granddaughter, telling her to come live with her and promising her a good life and a spot in a top school. She also mentions how Red's mom just packed up and left one day, even though she had a good life with nothing missing. Red packs her bags and makes the trip. When she arrives, there is a man waiting for her who says he works for her grandmother. She gets in the car and he introduces himself as the grandmother's most trusted helper. His name is Malcolm. They pull up to the house, and Red's jaw drops at the huge size of the estate and the endless land around it. Her grandmother is clearly very wealthy. Malcolm casually mentions that all this land belongs to her family. She steps inside, looking around the mansion, and thinks to herself that things are finally looking up. The maid, Mary, walks in, gives her a warm welcome, and Red looks through the family photos on the walls. But when she spots a young boy standing next to her grandmother, she gets curious and asks who it is. Mary tells her it is her grandmother's brother. Red is confused. Wait, I thought my grandmother was an only child. Mary explains that the brother died when he was just a child and that no one is allowed to mention his name in the house. After that, Mary takes her upstairs to show her the bedroom, which used to be her mom's room. Red spots a jacket, and Mary mentions it was her mom's favorite. But suddenly her grandmother walks in, staring in complete surprise. She tells Red she looks exactly like her mother, a total copy. Then she pulls her into a warm hug, clearly happy to finally have her there. At dinner, Red opens up about how her relationship with her mom was very hard, especially because of the addiction. Her grandmother tells her that her mom was perfectly fine right up until the accident. After that, she completely changed, like a different person. And when Red brings up the wolf that supposedly bit off her mom's arm, her grandmother shuts it down right away. What wolf? That is nonsense. She tells Red her mom got into a crash because she was driving drunk and lost her arm because of that mistake. After dinner, Red heads outside to get a phone signal, but it is a total dead zone out there. Just before heading back inside, she spots someone standing way out in the woods. She creeps closer, terrified, and gets the shock of her life when she realizes it is her mom. Her mom refuses to turn around, just warning Red to get as far away from this place as possible. But Red pushes closer, begging her for answers. The second she touches her shoulder, her mom spins around and screams right in her face, but thankfully it was just a nightmare. When she wakes up, she looks out the window and spots Malcolm dragging a heavy bag toward the tree line. She quickly ducks out of sight before he can turn around and catch her watching. When she peeks back out, Malcolm is gone and only the bag is left on the ground. The next morning, she asks Mary how to get into town. Mary suggests having Malcolm drive her, but Red says no and wants to go on her own. Mary tells her about an old bike stored in the attic that she can use. It turns out it belonged to her mom, so she grabs the bike and heads out. But on the way, she hears the sound of wolves howling. She stops dead, remembering her mom's stories. Panic kicks in and she pedals away as fast as she can. She makes it to town and is surprised by the large number of missing persons posters, especially for such a small, quiet place. After looking around, she heads back to the estate. She spots Malcolm preparing a pig for dinner, but things get strange when she sees him cutting out specific parts and setting them aside. She figures he is not saving those for cooking. She sits down with her grandmother again and talks more about her mom, explaining the addiction and how she could never fix her. She asks why her grandmother never reached out to them. Her grandmother explains that her mom completely cut all contact and refused to speak to her. She says her daughter had serious mental health problems that started with strong hallucinations, then came the heavy drinking, and no one could stop her until she caused the accident. After that, she disappeared and her grandmother had not heard from her since. Later that night, Red is troubled by bad dreams and cannot sleep. She gets up to take some pills to calm down, but still cannot drift off. Suddenly, a bright light flashes from outside. She jumps up to look and spots a boy holding a flashlight. It is the exact same boy she saw on the missing persons posters. She rushes out to check on him. He just stares at her for a second before running off into the dark woods. She grabs her own flashlight and chases after him, but suddenly finds herself in the middle of nowhere with the boy and a giant wolf circling around her. The boy stops right in front of her and lets out a terrifying scream, and once again it was just another nightmare. She gets up to take more medication to calm her nerves. The next day, she heads to her new school. She spots some girls practicing ballet and stops to watch, but their teacher walks up and asks who she is. The second Red gives her name. The teacher's attitude changes completely. She gets very cold, saying she thought she recognized her the moment she walked in. She tells Red that her mom was nothing but trouble and she could never forget her or her friend Janet, the one who used to sell her drugs. And she reveals that Janet is still doing that. Naturally, Red heads straight to the pub. She orders a drink, but the bartender asks to see her ID. Red fires back, "Are you Janet?" The bartender looks at her and says, "Who is asking?" Red tells her she is Scarlett's daughter. Janet is stunned, admitting she recognized her too. When Janet asks how her mom is doing, Red tells her the hard news. She is gone. They sit down to talk, and Red asks straight out if she was really the one selling her mom drugs. Janet gets defensive right away, saying Scarlett literally begged her for them. She swears it was only a one-time thing and that ever since the accident, Scarlett had completely changed. So Red asks, did she actually lose her arm in that crash? Janet nods yes, but then drops a big surprise. Your mom was not even the one driving. Upset by everything, Red excuses herself. A bit later, she starts talking with some local guys hanging out and playing a game. When they find out who her grandmother is, they are shocked. Even so, they invite her to hang out and talk. When they ask about her mom, Red jokes that a wolf ate her, but one of the guys looks very serious. He tells her the wolf story is actually real. In fact, the mother of Ewan, one of the guys sitting there, was also taken by the wolf. Red is completely stunned. She has no idea what is going on with this wolf story. Red really does not want to go back to the estate, so Ewan offers to let her stay at his place. Once there, she is clearly into him and is just about to make a move when Ewan's brother walks in, drags him outside, and loses it. Is that the grandmother's granddaughter? Have you lost your mind? Do you know her grandmother runs this entire town? Ewan walks back inside and awkwardly says he will be sleeping on the couch. The next day, she is out riding her bike and freezes in terror when she sees the wolf coming out of the woods. But again, it was just a dream. She wakes up to find Ewan sleeping right next to her. She loses it, yelling at him for not listening to his brother and sleeping on the couch. She packs up and storms out, but her bike tire blows out on the road. She stops and just starts screaming, completely at her limit. Suddenly, she hears someone behind her. A strange-looking man steps out from the trees. Terrified, she asks who he is. He says his name is Thomas and that he lives in the woods. Out of nowhere, they hear gunshots. Thomas tells her to run before the hunter catches her. Genuinely scared now, she runs right behind him. She stops at one point, telling him she is terrified to go deeper into the woods because of the wolf. She blurts out that the wolf ate her mom's arm. He stops, looks right at her, and asks, "Wait, you are Scarlett's daughter?" Before she can even ask how he knows her, the hunter fires again. Thomas panics and runs, and she sprints right behind him until they reach a clearing covered in heavy chains. And here is the big twist. She spots the missing boy from her dreams, surrounded by actual human bones. She finds out the boy's name is Charlie. Just as she desperately tries to untie him, Thomas sneaks up and knocks her out. When she comes around, he is trying to hurt her, but she somehow fights him off and escapes. She runs blindly and crashes right into Malcolm. She screams and passes out again from the shock. When she comes around, she finds herself back at her grandmother's house, but this time the door is locked from the outside. Mary walks in and calmly tells her to take her medication. Red is furious, demanding to know what is going on. She tries to explain that she saw the missing boy in the woods, but Mary could not care less, coldly telling her to just be quiet and take the pills. Red completely loses it and tries to push past her to reach her grandmother, but Malcolm blocks her path. He and Mary hold her down, and Mary injects her with a syringe. Almost instantly, she passes out. Later that evening, she goes down to have dinner with her grandmother. The old woman plays the sympathy card, telling Red that she lost her own mother young too, and that her father passed away shortly after. She claims she completely understands the pain Red is going through. She goes on to say that since she was the only girl in the family, she inherited this huge estate. She reveals her father always desperately wanted a son, but never got one. And here comes the big shock. Her grandmother says, "You met my brother, and it is Thomas, the strange man from the woods." She explains that nobody knows he is still alive, and they are willing to do whatever it takes to keep it that way. She tells Red that when she is older, she will understand how to protect her family, even if it means difficult choices. The next day, Red wakes up terrified to find she cannot move. Standing over her bed are her grandmother, Malcolm, and Mary. Her grandmother tells a twisted story about how her own father used to break his horses and did the same to her so she would learn to protect the family name. Then she orders Malcolm to teach Red a lesson. As if that was not bad enough, her grandmother reveals the dark truth about Thomas. When he was a child, he was completely out of control. His father chained him up in the woods, and Thomas survived by eating whatever he could find. After 3 whole months out there, when his mother finally sneaked out to free him, he was so starved that he turned on her and killed her. Ever since that terrible day, he has been living alone in the woods. He is the so-called wolf that has everyone in town terrified. There was once a real wolf in the woods, and people saw it, but Thomas took it out. Since nobody knows Thomas is out there, everyone is too scared to go into the forest, thinking the wolf is still around. Red fires back. "Why are you just sitting back and letting him kill innocent people?" Her grandmother coldly replies, "If you still do not understand why by now, then we are going to have to keep working on you." And she actually orders that Red gets no dinner that night. After her grandmother leaves, Mary leans in and whispers something horrible about hoping Thomas takes Red's arm just like he did to her mother. Red completely breaks down. To make things even worse, her grandmother brings in a dishonest doctor to falsely say Red is mentally ill and addicted to substances, just like her mom, claiming they are simply trying to help her get better. But in reality, they were the ones pumping her full of drugs every single day to keep her under control. A while passes, and Red seems totally broken and quiet. But one day she decides to fake taking the pills. She starts putting on a convincing act, pretending to be completely out of it and easy to control, exactly how they want her. While taking a bath one day, she casually asks Mary, "Did Thomas really eat my mom's arm?" Mary says yes without hesitation. She explains that Red's mom was just as stubborn as Red and refused to go along with what Thomas was doing out there. So her grandmother decided to teach her a harsh lesson and sent Thomas after her. The official story everyone heard was that her mom lost her arm in a car crash. After that horrible experience, it took her a long time to recover, and the trauma drove her deep into addiction. Then she vanished, and nobody could figure out where she went, to the point where they all assumed Thomas had finally finished her off. Hearing all of this, Red completely breaks down, crying for her mother and the terrible life she was forced to go through. When Mary comes in to give her the injection, Red catches her completely off guard and turns it on her. She grabs the keys from Mary's pocket and sneaks out, terrified. But her grandmother hears the keys and goes to check and completely loses it when she realizes Red is escaping. Red runs for her life, scared of running into Thomas in the dark. The second she hears Malcolm's car, she dives into hiding. He keeps calling out to her, warning her that she is much better off living with them rather than becoming Thomas's next meal. But when she refuses to come out, he shouts, "I warned you," and fires a gunshot into the air. That is the signal for Thomas. Once Malcolm drives off, she runs straight to Ewan's place and tells him everything that just happened. Ewan tells her not to worry, saying he already called the police. His brother completely loses it, yelling, "What police? You think the cops can do anything against that woman?" Before they can make a run for it, the police show up at the door. Red tells them the whole story, and they reassure her they will get her justice. They take her with them to head to the station, but she is completely blindsided when she realizes they are driving straight to her grandmother's estate. Of course, these corrupt officers are on her grandmother's payroll, and they hand her right back over. Her grandmother looks her in the eye and says, "Since you chose your mother's path, I will treat you exactly the way I treated her." Malcolm drags her to a shed near the house, ties her up, and forces her to wear her mom's favorite jacket. Then he steps outside, fires a shot into the air, and leaves the door wide open. Meanwhile, Ewan is worried sick. He calls the station to make sure she arrives safely, only to find out the officers who picked her up were already off duty. He instantly realizes they work for the grandmother and that Red is in serious danger. He, his brother, and their friend immediately head out to find her. Back at the shed, Thomas finally reaches Red. He creeps up, telling her she reminds him exactly of her mother. And then the biggest twist of all, he tells her that he is her father. But just in time, Ewan arrives, shouting her name. Thomas runs off into the woods. Ewan rushes in and quickly unties her, but they are immediately ambushed by Malcolm pointing his rifle at them. They dive into the brothers' car and speed away just before Malcolm can fire. On the drive back, Red suddenly tells them to stop the car. She drops the shocking news that the monster in the woods is actually her father, and she refuses to just walk away and let him keep hurting innocent people. She tells them she is going back. At first, the guys completely refuse, but seeing how determined she is, they give in and decide to back her up. They leave their friend behind in the car, telling him to call for help if they are not back within an hour. Armed with some weapons, they head into the dark woods. A little while later, the friend left in the car hears a noise, but before he can react, Malcolm appears and shoots him. Meanwhile, Ewan and his brother finally find Charlie. The brother frantically tries to untie the boy, but Thomas lunges out of the shadows and attacks him. Ewan is devastated. He fires a shot at Thomas and chases after him into the woods, but tragically, Malcolm spots him and takes him down too. Red steps out of the shadows holding a gun. She looks Malcolm in the eye, tells him enough is enough, and shoots him, doing herself and the entire town a huge favor. With Malcolm gone, she finally unties Charlie and sneaks him back to the mansion, telling him to wait downstairs while she finishes this. She creeps upstairs, ready to finally take down the person behind it all. But she gets the shock of her life. She walks into the room only to find her grandmother has been torn apart. She instantly realizes Thomas came back and turned on his own sister. Her grandmother finally got a taste of her own medicine. Red rushes back downstairs to grab Charlie, but he is gone. She looks outside and spots Thomas dragging the boy away. She screams at him to let the child go and take her instead. But Thomas replies that his father always wanted a son, and now he wants a boy to carry on his legacy. Desperate, she looks right at him and calls him dad, reminding him that she is his own flesh and blood. And incredibly, it works. He lets go of Charlie and slowly walks toward her. But the second he drops his guard, she fights back with everything she has until she finally finishes him off for good. And just like that, she becomes the wealthiest girl in town, sitting on a huge fortune. She was put through an absolute nightmare, but she made it out and she came out standing. And that is a wrap on this movie. A movie where only one person makes it out alive. Smash that like button, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will catch you in the next recap.